Good to have you back. It is now for us to start looking at the topics that we have raised this morning. And the first one is looking at the peace process, the peace pact that was recently signed. And to help us look at this, we have Professor Obiajulu Obikeze. He is a lecturer at Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University, Igbariam. Prof, you're welcome to our studios.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
How do you see this summertime?
Well, it's good. Once in a while.
You like it?
I like it.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, we said that we're going to look at the 2019 elections, presidential aspirants, peace accord, peace agreement, peace pact, whatever you decide to call it. But remember that I'm still here with Dave, and then Dave is okay, Dave, you're welcome.
Yes, we're ready for this moment.
Okay, very much ready. Well, okay, Nigerian political parties on Tuesday, December the 11th, signed a new peace accord, because I know that they've signed one before. And this one is committing to a peaceful poll in 2019, although some key candidates were absent at the event, which held at the International Conference Center, Abuja, as was organized by the National Peace Committee. And now that we have a prof to talk about this, this is about the second or the third one that's signing for this 2019 election. It does appear that this election is going to be maybe more serious than the ones we've had in the past. Now, sir, we'll always ask, why peace pact? Is election a war pact, a war deal? Otherwise, I was thinking before now that it's a simple democratic process. Okay, so why always peace pact, peace accord, peace agreement during elections?
Thank you. Well, good morning, viewers. The issue of peace, why we should have peace accord, is based on experience, based on our past and issues that have happened in the past in Nigeria, in Africa, and then in particular West African sub-region. And our democracy has not taken foot to such an extent that people can now go and sleep and believe that people know what to do at any time so as to bring about peaceful, credible, and transparent election. So each time we have elections, we notice a situation where we now have anxiety that anything could happen. And based on our body language, on our speech, on the way we behave and actions, we notice that it propels people to think that it's do or die thing, instead of a process that we have known must come every 4 years. So that's why it's necessary to talk about peace.
And you said that our democracy has not taken root.
Yes, it has not taken root. We just.
So when is it going to take root? After how many years of independence?
20 years. Okay, independence, I mean democracy.
After how many years of independence? We are talking about, we just started 1999. Remember that.
But at least a boy of 20 is a grown-up man. At least he's an adult.
A nation of 20 is not grown. It's something that will last for eternity. A nation, some are 200 years, 500 years, 1,000 years, and still counting. And the life is all dynamism and changes from.
This was started in 1999.
Yes.
Well, before then, we have had democratic process.
And then it was aborted. It was a kind of a boy who was learning to walk. All of a sudden, the person had a kind of polio.
It got crippled.
Yes. If you have polio at that age, you will start all over again. So it's going to take some time.
I see.
All right. One of the presidential aspirants just this morning, yesterday, made a comment that the president might not guarantee a peaceful poll. She was part of those that signed the peace accord. Do you think that the statement raises concerns even after the signing of the document?
Well, I think the starting point should be to start asking some questions, which, if we have time, we give answers to.
Okay.
The first question is, what is peace?
Okay.
Peace. What's the meaning of peace? Peace is not totally the absence of war. That's not in the present circumstance. what we mean by peace. And then peace in this kind of situation means a state where everybody feels safe. Everybody is comfortable, or at least not everybody, at least majority of the people are comfortable to take care of themselves, hope for tomorrow, and then make sure that, that they are free from anxiety, from calamities of one form or the other. And then the issue of justice, the issue of fairness, the issue of integrity, all these things are what build up peace. So it's a state of mind where people feel safe in our environment. So that is the starting point. Now, if a situation where you see people or hear people talk about Nigeria in such a way that there's no love, in such a way there's no justice, in such a way that people think frustrated and disenchanted in what is going on in the country, there's concern for peace. So that is, if somebody says it, it shows that what the actions of the government in particular, the government at the center, and the actions of people, the lieutenants, they don't go to ensure that there's going to be a credible and peaceful election.
Well, that statement was credited to Obi as the professor, yes. And then she actually said and directed it to the president. You are not interested in peace. You are working to compromise the election. This is coming from Obi Ezekwesili. Is it true? What do you think that informed this decision or this opinion of Obi Ezekwesili?
Well, I am not Obi Ezekwesili, but I've already said that the situation in Nigeria would want somebody to make that kind of statement. A situation where people talk as if they're already sure that they're going to win the election by any means. A situation where people boast that come what come may. You already have 12 million voters in Kano.
This was our political intrigues. I mean, they just want to use to maybe...
no, but when you now talk with air of finality in you, that means that there's something that gives you courage to make such statement. If you are making tentative or hypothetical statement, it's different. But when you talk with assurance that we are going to win, just like Oshomole.
Okay, but apart from that, what about the security situation in the country? What about the issue of the executive controlling all the institutions, the security agents, the INEC, everything? Everybody is being appointed. All the heads of the institutions are appointed.
You are now going to specifics.
Yes,
and that is why people are worried.
Yeah, we need to be specific.
A situation where the army, the police, all the security agents act as if they are working for one man or one party. That gives cause for worry. A situation where
and some of the heads of the agencies even wear what do you call it? Name tags or whatever, campaign, you know.
That is the issue, which should not be the case. So these are some of the things that go to show you that the situation is
okay, I think that's where they're starting the peace part.
Yes. These things are just playing to the gallery.
Oh, just really?
Yes.
You believe it doesn't have, it won't have much impact in ensuring peaceful elections?
If it comes from the mind, if it is based on sincerity of purpose and then commitment, that's okay. But if you just go there to show the world that you are coming and they'll be clapping for you, that doesn't make sense. We are at somewhere and so inside you are thinking of something else. I call it playing to the
So what are those things that we'll see and we'll believe that, because there are several arguments. Some people have put up data, some international organizations and some critics have said, with these indices we are seeing, we are not guaranteeing a free and fair elections peaceful elections in 2019. Now, but the government is saying there would be. So what are those things you see, or when we begin to see, we know that there is a short commitment now?
Thank you. One is we see a situation where the umpire, which is INEC, is well equipped to do his job. Secondly, we see a situation where the president should sign the electoral bill that took so many months to prepare by about 500 persons in the National Assembly. After they had gone through it, spent their time and energy and all the resources going for committee stage and what have you, pass the bill, and then we are told that it's too close to election. That again tells you that something is wrong somewhere. When a situation where the military, the army, the police, all the security agencies seem to be working for one person or one party, that also shows that something is wrong somewhere. These are some of the indicators that show that people must have cause to worry.
Must have cause to worry, but I know that in 2015 we were worried because of the what characterized the election of 2015, maybe ethnic and religious sentiments, you know, because one of the presidential candidates is coming from the north and a Muslim, and the other from the south, a Christian. Now, the two core presidential candidates in this 2019 elections are all from the north, northwest, and northeast, respectively, and they are from the same religious background. Okay, so why this fear of election violence and maybe not accepting the election results after the 2019 election?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. Well, Nigeria is a very peculiar situation. In 2015, Jonathan contested with Buhari as two major contestants. And then Jonathan had written his memo, whatever he called it, and then published. And then he brought out the issue of conspiracy theory, which all of us now know. So during that election of Jonathan, it was very obvious that the North never wanted Jonathan to contest ab initio, and he shouldn't have contested. But he, contested, hoping that with the power of incumbency, that he would...
Sorry, Prof. Somebody is joining us. Hello. Hello?
Hello?
Hello. All right.
Okay, nobody, but you can now start making your contributions as we go on.
So I was saying that Jonathan felt that with power of incumbency, he would, and then some people giving him assurances that he was going to win, he contested. And then we saw what happened. Now, you notice a situation where it seemed that the other party, which was APC, was warming up for something else. Because after the election, it took them about 6 months or more to form the government. That shows that they were not prepared for governance. They were rather prepared for the other side. Assuming Jonathan did not call him to say that I've considered defeat, maybe something else would have happened. So the very approach of Jonathan was what saved us in 2015, and not necessarily the issue of North and South and what have you.
So they were more prepared for war than
exactly.
Are you saying that issue of violence in elections are actually about the personalities, not about the region or the people or the regions of the people involved, of the major players in that polity?
In social balance, you can't isolate one factor from the other. Okay. All these things come into play. The issue of religion, the issue of North-South dichotomy, the issue of even ethnic groups, they all come to play. But what we are saying is that right now, both of them have almost equal advantage. And then both of them know that how and where to pinch their tents. And that means that the followers, the peace accord could be signed. What are the followers? How do you work on their psyche?
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you, because the followers or their supporters are not part of the peace pact. So what happens to them? What if they decide to go violence? Will it be with the people that signed it? That's the presidential that will be responsible for the action of adults.
That's exactly what we are trying to say. That it's not just enough for the two or some of the principal actors to just sign the accord, and we feel that everything has gone. They may not be in Sokoto, at the same time be in Borno, at the same time be in Niger Delta, and all these places where they will spark off these things. And then it is based on our understanding of the sociology and psychology of our society that people will now be able to talk to them. From now, you should be talking to them in language that this is politics, this is democracy. Not every time you win, not every time you gain, you must have to take it. It depends on the conduct of these people who have signed this accord. When they the followers now know that these people are not ready for violence, they will calm down themselves. But the situation where you'll be talking tough, giving assurances you must win, you don't even consider the other person and that what have you. These are situations
and the same game with, okay, we're going to hold it there as we go for a short break. We are coming back very soon. Please don't go too far.
Season's greetings in Anambra. On behalf of Caring Family Enhancement Initiative, CAFE, I wish us all a Merry Christmas and prosperous New Year. Chief Dr. Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, founder, CAFE, wife of the Governor of Anambra State.
Good to have you back. It is still good morning, Anambra, and we are looking at the 2019 election, the presidential Aspirants Peace Accord. That's exactly what we're looking at this one. And we still have Professor Obiajulu Obikeze, who joined us earlier to look at this important. You're still welcome. You're still welcome, Prof.
Thank you.
Okay, in all this, I know that INEC as an umpire is in charge of elections in Nigeria, wherever you find one. And we are looking at how we're going to have peace during and after this election. That's 2019 election. And I would like to find out from you, Prof, what is the role of INEC in all this?
INEC is the electoral umpire. INEC is given the responsibility to conduct free, fair, credible, and transparent election. INEC should provide all the materials. It has fixed dates, provide all the materials and all the necessary logistics essential for the election. So they have onerous task of trying to organize and conduct the election in such a way that people will see it to be truly credible and reliable. That is the job of INEC. A situation where it has to be objective, very impartial, and very neutral in executing its duties. That's the job of INEC. And they have to do that not just in the immediate. It's something that it's a process. Election is a process. Now that we are trying to do that of 2019, we already sure or pray that that of 2023 will soon come. So it's not something they just do as ad hoc. You sit down, fire brigade approach, and then when it comes, you now start all over. It should be a continuous thing. After each election, you analyze and assess what you had done, how you did it, the failures and then advantages, weak points and what have you. Then you start the next one. So I'm saying that the INEC has the general task of trying to conduct election, educating the people, and trying to ensure, with the help of some other arms of government, that elections come out effectively and efficiently credible.
Now, on this issue of the role of INEC, the concern about INEC just said that they are not going to use incident forms in the 2019 elections. We know that the Electoral Act that signs that or that allows that to be have not been signed by the president. Don't you think such arrangement, such insistence by INEC can also create a level of mistrust by the political parties involved and might lead to violence after the elections?
Well, you have already said it. The job of INEC, as I already said, is to be very impartial, to be objective, to give some guarantee for all sections and all manner of persons, give them equal opportunity to fail or pass. That is that is the situation. And that's why people are saying sign the electoral bill, so that INEC will now have a good law where nobody will fault with time, that is the fault of INEC. But there's a situation where INEC becomes, you now, in the north, you use one policy, in the south, you
use another.
You're not giving equal opportunity to people. In the north, under 8 people will vote. In the south, you insist that only those above 18 should vote. These are some of the things which we are saying. So if INEC believes that the incident form should not be used, it should be general, and then it should be part of the law. Because some of the things that when some of these things people go to court, there will be some of the issues and the elections will be nullified on the grounds of technicalities.
But I know that judging from what happened in the Kitty and Oshun,
yes,
okay, one will start wondering whether INEC is ready to deliver this. And I know that so many political parties have called for the resignation of Mahmoud Yakubu before this 2019 election.
And that is why people are afraid.
So do you see them conducting credible election, judging from what happened in the Ekiti and Osun?
Well, we are human beings. It's difficult to predict human beings. They may decide to save their face. Faces. There are indications, I've already said, that there are indications that INEC seems to be taking sides. And if that is the situation, then they may not conduct free, fair election. But if they are objective and then trust themselves that they don't care who wins or who loses, then they will be able to come neat. But the situation where you give different measure for the same people or group, that's where we have problem. You have reminded me of Osun and Ekiti. These are places where recent elections had been held, and we saw the outcome. So we are not praying for such a thing, and that's why people are worried.
Someone wants to join us. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning, welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very
clearly. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Quickly, please.
I'm Udoka Kujeze.
Udoka from where?
Udoka Kujeze from Abagana.
Okay, go on.
From Abagana.
Okay, Abagana. Go on.
Go ahead. Make your contribution now.
You are talking about e-start and then how to secure the election in 2019.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Go on.
In my personal opinion, I would say that how to secure the election now is right in front of our president. And if he cannot be able to sign the deal that is being passed by the National House of Assembly, as in the electoral deal, how do you suppose that the election will be successful? So I would say that the people that is supposed to be the one moving it by signing the electoral deal. So it's the one holding the peak and everything.
Okay. Thank you very much, Udoka. Thank you.
So Udoka is saying that the signing of the electoral bill is the first step to
determine
guarantee
the credibility of the 2019 election. Okay, you talked about voter education.
Sure.
Please, do you think enough has been done? Briefly before we go, enough to sensitize the voters on what to do?
Enough has not been done, and it's natural that in our societies we don't do enough in terms of education. It's not enough. Education is a process, and things come up every day, and then that means that you are going to talk to people, sermonize, conscientize on them, and then makes them believe that you have something to. There are changes every day. Life is dynamic, so it's never enough. My worry is that the National Intelligence Agency seems to be sleeping. We don't see them, we don't hear them doing anything. Even this period of election, when they should be educating the people and then helping to talk to people.
Well, they're on the news this morning. They're on our news this morning. They're going
just this morning.
Okay, we must go. But before that, just briefly, the role of the security in this election, because Idris just said that, no, not Idris, Burotai said this the other day that they will deliver 2019 election the way they did in Ekiti and Osun.
Burotai should be the army officer.
Yes.
And then what part has the military to do with internal security? That's the job of the police.
Or democratic process.
They are not in democracy. They're not part of it. Their job is to kill. They are trained to kill. So that is just the issue. What I'm saying is that the police has serious job to do in terms of delivering the election of 2019. And if they don't take sides, we know that it's coming. We come out neat. But we now have evidences and whispers from here and there that they are not playing neat.
Okay, and they need to play neat. We'd like to thank you very much for joining us this morning. Professor Obiajulu Obikeze, you are the lecturer coming from Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu University.
And I'm also the president general of my town.
Really? Which one is your town?
Awa in Orumba North.
Awa in Orumba North.
Yes.
Okay, President, you're welcome. Is it a new appointment?
No, I've been there for 6 years.
Oh, this is great. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. And that's beautiful and a very exciting discussion. But don't go away, we are still very much around.